Let's take a look at what's going on with Dogecoin today, guys. All right, so I think we might be coming back up to .173. Let me show you what I was looking at over the weekend and what I'm looking at today in general. Okay, so we've been kind of trending to the downside. We had resistance, 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 giving me this downtrend right here. And then we also had support, kind of support and support, giving me this other trend line right here. In my opinion, it kind of looked like we were in a falling channel pattern going to the downside, and I was waiting for us to break this top resistance line going to the upside, or the bottom one going to the downside, or continue to head in that channel. We actually got support right here and bounced to the upside, and actually are breaking through this resistance pattern right now, or that resistance line, should I say. So in a channel pattern, what we would do is we would drag from the top to the bottom of the channel, something like that, drag that to the breakout, and what gives us a target somewhere around .173. It also lines up with the 38% Fibonacci retracement level, the previous resistance right here. And yeah, the Fibonacci retracement level, more importantly though, when we have a big run up and we start thinking we're topping out, like over here, we had this big, huge run. We get the Fibonacci retracement tool, drag from the bottom to the top. That gives us levels to watch. These levels are a lot of times turn into resistance and support. So, like I was saying, if we could break through this Fibonacci retracement level going to the upside, then the next one is where I'm looking at to target. Plus, it kind of lines up with this previous resistance over here. So I think now that we're breaking out of this resistance over the weekend, going to the upside, in my opinion, I think we might be heading back up to .173. And yeah, I had a limit order at this Fibonacci retracement level once we started breaking to the downside over here, a small one, should I say, right here. So let's kind of give a recap of what's been going on over the weekend and what we've been watching. So in my last couple videos, I was watching these uptrends. Let me get the marker. We had this uptrend right here, and we also had this uptrend right here. We broke this uptrend going sideways, and I was saying we're going to be wanting to watch the top and we're going to want to watch the bottom. As soon as we broke that bottom, we got a nice little, some red candles. We came down, hit that next Fibonacci retracement level, and then we were kind of riding in that area for a while. Once we broke that Fibonacci retracement level, look at what happened. Big red candle. So now we were coming down, and yesterday what I was wondering, I was going to make a video but I never did, is we were having not trouble here, but we were getting a little bit of support right here. And this lines up with the other trend line that I've been watching on my channel. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's delete some of this one. Let's clean it up. So we broke this one. We broke this one. Let's go ahead and delete that. We broke this trend line. We broke that trend line. Those were the trend lines that I've been watching and kind of keeping track of. But these ones are the ones that are still intact. Okay, so on my channel, we've been watching this trend line as well. Support, support, support. Gives us an uptrend going something like this. We basically found support perfectly on that trend line. I was thinking if we broke this trend line going to the downside, then we'd probably be looking at .8 again, or something like, or what is this one? .115. I guess .8's down here. 08. .08. Let me be clear. So yeah, I was thinking if we broke this one going to the downside, we might be coming back to this Fibonacci retracement level sitting at around .115. But we got support, and it looks like we're bouncing right now. And it looks like we're bouncing out, or it looks like we're breaking out of that resistance. Let's see if we can continue this momentum and head to the upside. I'm on the 4-hour time frame. This candle still has around 3 hours and 35 minutes for us to close this candle. What I want to see us do is, what I want to see it do is close this candle above. Let me delete that and zoom out again. All right. So what I want to see it do is close this candle above this resistance line. Right here we have this resistance line. I want to see this candle continue to move up, close this candle, and then start the new candle and continue to head to the upside. Then we can start getting more confident on that Fibonacci retracement target sitting at around .173. 174 approximately. So yeah, those are some of the things that I'm looking at. I mean, I'm kind of glad. Like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen last night. Like I said, I was watching this this us come into contact with this trend line right here and kind of test it. I was wondering if we were going to go to the downside or not, but it looks like overnight we got support and bounced to the upside. And we broke this resistance, so that's a good sign. I think both of these are good signs. Supporting on that trend line, boom, and then also breaking that resistance, or at least testing it right now. Like I said, we still have a few hours before we close the candle. What I want to see us do is close out of this trend line to the upside, and then start the next candle, and maybe we'll have a better chance to go to the next target and or the next target on the falling wedge pattern. If we zoom out, let's go ahead and actually we could leave this because this is kind of the next target, the bigger target, should I say, because we have a falling wedge pattern right here. Let's go ahead and switch to the daily time frame. It looks a little bit better. Okay, so let's zoom out and let's talk about this falling wedge pattern. We've been watching this for a while on this channel. We have a channel pattern that gets tighter and tighter, lower highs, lower lows, gets tighter and tighter as we go down low, tighter, 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 tighter. Once we break that resistance going to the upside, then we start targeting the previous resistances. This was the first target, this was the second target, and this is the third target. We came up, hit that first target, came up, hit the second target, and then that's where we started to get resistance and started to head down. We are on this uptrend. We got support on it. Let's see if we continue to move up, and then we can start maybe, I think once we break out of this Fibonacci retracement level sitting at around 174, 173, if we could break clearly out of that, then we could start getting more confident on this target sitting around 22, which, like I said, is the third target on this falling wedge pattern. If we could break out of this Fibonacci retracement level box, or this top right here sitting at around 229, then we can start looking at these previous resistances over here, possibly at around 0.29, 0.28, somewhere around there. And then this one is sitting at around 0.35, 0.33, somewhere in there. So yeah, those are some of the next targets that I'm looking at. But we have to continue on this uptrend. We don't want to break this uptrend right here going to the downside. If we do, then less confident on this target, more confident on the next Fibonacci retracement levels going to the downside. Let's see what else. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Let's go back. So yeah, like I said, we're kind of in a channel pattern. Drag from the top to the bottom, drag that to the breakout. Let's see if we can continue and head up to 0.139, that channel pattern target, and the next Fibonacci retracement level box. What else do we got? With the daily time frame, it looks like, let's go ahead and delete these trend lines real quick because we kind of know where we're kind of what's going on in that sense. Let's go ahead and delete this. So I wanted to talk about, or like I wanted to just take a look at the moving average again. So we have this 9 moving average right here. We broke below it yesterday. We broke below that 9 moving average, and I've been talking about how it's better to be on top of the 9 moving average than it is to be below it. Even right here, we're still technically below it. So we need to break through this 9 moving average again. It's sitting at right around, let's see, what is it sitting at? It's sitting at around 0.159 approximately. We need to break this in order to be more confident on our bullish targets. Right now, we're under the 9 moving average. Not a great sign, but as you can see in this area, it's not always going to give us resistance. Like right here, we kind of dipped down below it, came up, tested it again, and then broke right back through it. So I'm kind of wondering if we're going to do the same thing, break below it, test it, and then break through it. So let's keep an eye on this chart, the daily time frame with the 9 moving average. If we look at the other moving averages, they're still probably looking good. Like the weekly time frame, we're still clearly above the weekly, which is good. We broke below it right here, and resistance. We came over here, we broke through it, and been getting support, pushing us to the upside. This is on the weekly time frame, so that's good in my opinion. The monthly time frame as well, we're still above on the monthly, but like I've been talking about in my videos on the monthly, I've kind of noticed how we break above the monthly, get a nice little run, and then start testing it and go right through it and go to the downside. right here, got a nice little run, started testing it, went through it, downside. Nice little run, started testing it, downside. So I'm wondering if we had our nice little run, we're testing, and then we're going to go to the downside again. But let's see. Maybe it'll get support, though. Like I said, just being on top of it is a good sign. Once we break below it, then we can start saying, okay, maybe we're going to start going to the downside like I was just talking about. But right now we are above it. Let's see if we can test it and then get support on it and push to the upside. I mean, right here we got support on it, bounced us to the upside and got a nice little run. Let's see if we could do something similar over here. So that's the monthly time frame. This is going to take a while for it to develop. We still have 26 days and 12 hours before this candle closes. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens this month and see if we can stay above this little area. The 9 moving average right here is sitting at 0.143. So I think, yeah, if we can stay above in this area or go higher, then that's going to be a good thing for the 9 moving average on, or when we're looking at the 9 moving average on the monthly time frame. Like I said, the weekly is doing good. The daily is having some trouble right now. We broke below it. Looks like we're going to have to test it and maybe try to break back above it. Being below it is not ideal, is like I was just talking about. So that's the daily, but I do think like on the 4-hour, it's looking pretty good. Like I was saying that we broke the channel pattern. Let's do something like this. We had a channel like that. Basically, actually, it was something like that. I'm using the wicks right now. So we wicked all the way up here. We wicked all the way right here, and we wicked all the way right here. Gave me this resistance sign. We're testing that resistance right now. Let's see if we can really actually break through it. And then we also had this bottom, something like this. So yeah, let's see what happens on that. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin today. It looks like Bitcoin broke the channel that we were watching on this pattern or this chart. Let's go ahead and delete this one. Let's go ahead and delete this one. Let's keep that one. In general, on this on this chart, it kind of looks like the same thing except the other way. We have resistance, support. It looks like the channel's pushing to the upside, but it looks like we broke the channel going to the downside right here. So same thing on that with the Dogecoin channel chart, drag from the top to the bottom, something like that. We might be heading down, back down to the 180 moving average right here. That kind of looks like that target when we drag from the top to the bottom of that pattern and then drag that to the breakout. It looks like that gives us target of around 64,250 approximately. Let's see if this continues to go down. Maybe it's just a little fake out and it starts heading back to the upside, but right now it does look like it's breaking the support right there. If this chart's going down, then that's probably not a good sign for crypto in general. But when this chart's going up, then that's going to be a very good sign for crypto. I've been watching these couple patterns and these targets. Let's go ahead and fix this. We're basically in this little channel pattern right here. We had resistance, support, giving me this channel pattern. We actually did break that resistance right here, but it looks like we got some trouble at the top, and it looks like we're kind of heading down, maybe having to retest it. A lot of the times, though, with these supports and resistances, if we break above them or if we break below them, like let's say we break above right here, then maybe we can come down, retest it, and then get support on this previous resistance line right there where it was acting as resistance, but once we break above it, then it can act as support. Let's see if that happens. It looks like we are kind of having trouble, not trouble in that area, but it looks like it's not just like kind of crashing down. It looks like we are kind of finding a little bit of support on that trend line right there. So what I've been talking about is we need to break this line first, then we need to break the top second, and then we have resistance, giving me this trend line. We need to break that trend line. If let's say in our bullish scenario, I have a bunch of these little lines right here. Let me delete them real quick. Let's go ahead and delete that. Because I'm looking at a target of around 122,000 on Bitcoin. But we need to break those three levels first. We have one level right there. We have the top, and then we have these 2 points they give me a trend line. But what I'm looking at on Bitcoin is this cup and handle pattern. If you drag from the top to the bottom of the cup and then drag this to the breakout, once we break that channel pattern, because a cup and handle is basically this round bowl looking cup thing, and then we get a channel pattern after that going to the downside. Once we break that resistance, then that's the breakout for the cup and handle. Cup and handle is not my favorite pattern, but we can get targets from it. So yeah, if we drag that to the breakout, we're looking at a target of around 123,000. I would say probably the falling wedge is probably my favorite pattern, but yeah, so I don't know. I mean, sometimes these sometimes patterns perform differently, like when you're looking at head and shoulders patterns or cup and handle patterns or whatever it is. I would say like the wedge patterns are probably my favorite, and then like the channel patterns, and then I don't know, maybe like triangles, and then it's like you kind of get into like the triangles and head and shoulders and cup and handles and stuff like that. And then that's, I guess, the flag patterns too. That's like kind of up there with the I'd put that under the wedge patterns though, because sometimes the flag patterns will kind of fake you out, where you have a nice little run up, then you get consolidation, and then it kind of goes to the downside and it doesn't perform the way a flag pattern should. So sometimes they fake you out, but the falling wedge patterns are usually pretty reliable. That's why if we go back to the Dogecoin chart, that's why when we broke this falling wedge going to the upside, I was pretty excited. We didn't do much for a while, but we started finally coming up, hitting those targets that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So yeah, I think that about does it though. I mean, we're basically watching the channel pattern right now. Looks like we're getting a breakout. Let's see if we can continue this momentum going to the upside. I think we do need to break that Fibonacci retracement level sitting at around 0.156 clearly, and then we can start getting more confident on 0.173 approximately. I mean, it's possible that we're still in this channel pattern and we do something like this and continue to head down. If we get rejected right here and start heading down, then the next spot that I'll be looking at is the next Fibonacci retracement level sitting at 0.139. And basically just continuing to watch this channel pattern form, because until we break this trend going up or going down, then, I mean, technically we are going down until we break out of this resistance line, something like that. And it looks like we kind of are, but it also looks like it's giving us some trouble. So let's kind of wait and see what happens. Once we break the Fibonacci and the resistance line, then we can get more confident on this target and or that falling wedge target, the bigger one at 0.220. But yeah, those are the things that I'm looking at today on Dogecoin. If you guys like the video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to watch the last video, check it out right here. And if you're new to trading, check out this playlist over here. I'll see you guys in the next one.